The information provided on Dr. Tom Roselle Live by Dr. Tom Roselle, D.C., interview guests, show co-hosts, or substitute hosts is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. It is for general information purposes only. Information from this broadcast should not replace the appropriate consultation and examination process by a licensed physician. Always consult your own physician prior to changing any current medical directive or prescription.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live, right now, on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
And welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We are live in studio here on this Saturday afternoon because the Redskins play tomorrow. And the good thing is Dr. Roselle is off amongst the crowds again, learning, teaching, expanding the knowledge of others about what we do, and health as a do-it-yourself program, as he always does. And I'm going to be filling in with a co-host as well, too. But I'm Dr. Stephanie Pina, and I'm going to be your host today for the Dr. Roselle Live Show. And we're going to talk about something very seasonally appropriate today. We're going to talk about what do you do at this time of year when you have the holidays to deal with, and how do you survive the holidays. And probably one of the biggest parts, the toughest parts, like anything when we make changes and want to live a healthier lifestyle, is dealing with how do we eat, drink, and how about the foods that we have to deal with. And the person that I couldn't be better off with, be better paired with, is Mary Jane, and our clinical nutritionist, and she is going to help us lead our way through the holiday spirit. So welcome back, Mary Jane.
Thank you, Dr. Pina, for that wonderful introduction.
We've said before, not even just looking at the holiday time, but just in general, that really when it comes down to it, diet and lifestyle and keeping those regular and making the changes that we know we need to make really is the hardest part of anything, because to me, I think it's because we can eat a good breakfast and say, I did it. And then it comes time for lunch and you're like, well, I was so good at breakfast. Like, why do I have to do it at lunch too? And so it takes a lot to kind of go in there. So you work a lot with patients to make sure that they understand that process and kind of guide them through that.
Yeah, I empower my patients that for them to learn how important it is for them to make these changes in their life, what it's going to do to their current health conditions as well as their future, health conditions. And just because it's the holidays, just because there's the party coming, there's really, that's not an excuse to not do the right thing.
So we know that, for a little fun fact, that between October 31st and the end of the year, there are exactly 29 holidays across 7 different religions. That's a lot of things to keep in mind. So it's a short time span, but there's a lot going on. So everybody celebrates that differently. Everybody does things differently, whether they're alone or in a group or in a bigger group. But we know that obviously trying to keep up with some of the things that we have always planned throughout the rest of the year played just as important as what they do right now.
And also, too, I think that, these days the holiday period get extended, up through January, with the football season, and the playoffs, up into the Super Bowl. So I think it's really not until that game is over when the holidays are over, the partying's over, the excuses are over.
So we definitely have to add the Super Bowl in.
I think so, yes, yes. But the one good thing about Super Bowl is that avocados are always priced very, very attractive.
So at that time.
Yes. So if you love avocados and they've always been too expensive in the past, do eat them in, late January, early February.
Add the green back in where it's nice and cold and white outside and perfect. And we always seem to do, for some reason, the diabetes lecture always falls on that same Sunday as Super Bowl Sunday.
Uh-huh.
So I tell people it's the way to get ready for what's coming next. But we're going to talk about surviving the holidays, especially from the nutritional side. What do we eat? How do we do it? And really, there's a lot of things that, like when you're talking to your patients, we keep it simple, but it's a reminder of what we need to do. But some of those things, we got to think ahead. Prep work is the real key when it comes to this. Just like how we have to plan our schedule of when we're going to show up to where, what we're going to do. Do we have to get a haircut first? Do we have the right outfit? We have to think about what are we going to do as far as eating. So why do you think the holidays, other than the fact that it's longer now, why do you think the holidays present such a problem with people, and then people kind of end up looking back on it and start going, wow, I should have done better, but I didn't, but let me just do it again the next weekend?
I think one reason is because, the food is free. Like yesterday evening, I joined my mother for her holiday party at the independent living facility where she's at. And, everything was free. So you tend to overeat, or you tend to make unhealthy choices that you would not have made if you had to pay for the food.
So when we look at that, so let's start getting into that, because when we show up, let's think about if you are going somewhere. Because we've talked before when we were talking about what we were going to do in the show, and said there's, kind of a couple of different situations to think about when the holidays, you're going out to an event, or you're going out to a restaurant where you may not have as much control over what's going on. There's the other events where you're having like home dinners, or having people over, like the Thanksgiving dinner, the Christmas dinners and stuff, and you might be visiting people as well. So that's a different event. And then there's kind of everything else in between when you're running around trying to shop and do everything and visit everyone and make sure you've got all the time. So even that it's almost like our normal schedule lives, but we don't think of it. We feel like it's an obligation that we have to go out and do. So let's take the first thing about, like, if we're going to an event. Like, first of all, when you think about it, what should we really think about beforehand so that we're prepped and ready to go when we put our good clothes on and we're ready to go out the door?
One thing that I do want to clarify is I do think that you always do have control. Mm-hmm. You always, it's you and you alone, will make the decision, do I put that on my plate and eat it or not? So it is, in your control. I think once you accept an invitation, if as appropriate, try to ask questions as to, what's going to be served. What are the different options? And if you do have a lot of dietary restrictions, ask the questions. Will anything be gluten-free? Will anything be dairy-free? Because that may be very helpful for the choices that you make.
Well, I know we've had a lot of patients that come in, and that does put both sides in an awkward situation. And so what do you think are the easy ways to kind of come about doing that, instead of just saying, yeah, I know I can look at it and see it. It may be marked. It may not be marked, I know when we host events for the Acupuncture Society, we have it labeled, which makes it a little bit easier for people, but that may not always be the case. What do you think is an easy way of kind of coming around, having people, giving them the control back to even ask that question, or to feel comfortable enough with their family to say, like, I'm not going to eat this or that because, I'm trying to avoid this, or I have a sensitivity?
Well, I guess, some things would be very obvious. Vegetables, for instance, fruits, for instance. I mean, they would most likely be dairy-free and gluten-free. So you can, eat as much as that as you wish. And the same thing with the proteins. If there is like prime rib that's being sliced, or there is, lamb chops, things of that nature, that would be most likely, safe to eat.
Okay.
With minimal, gravies and not being overly fancy. Yeah.
So all the extras,
yes,
the trimmings and stuff
right,
is the stuff that we have to be a little careful of.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So we've checked ahead. We said, great, everything looks good. What do we do next? What's the next important key? This is before we're going out.
Hydration.
Okay.
I think, the day of the event, just make sure that you're well hydrated. Drink a lot of water, from the moment you wake up until the moment that you get there.
Okay.
And also, like, on the way home afterwards.
So one of the things I think that's interesting about that, too, is when we think about it, when we have the drink at the party, the more alcoholic drink, if we are going to drink at the party, that is not hydrating ourselves, correct?
Are we bringing up alcohol already?
I
thought we would be talking about that in the second half of the program.
Well, because some people that's in their pre-gaming
right,
party mood. So when we think about it, I mean, we should be thinking about hydration not only from what am I going to drink later on, but also like with the food situation as well too, because when we're going to be consuming whatever we consume there, we have to have something to essentially wash it down, but then also something to make sure that, it's like you mentioned before when we were talking, the food may not be what we think it's going to be, or what we normally eat. So we have to make sure that we hydrate. Is there anything particular, like, is it just water? Or when we talk about hydration for a number of different reasons, for adrenal health, for musculoskeletal health, for spinal health, but is there anything particular about this, or can we just grab any old water bottle off the shelf and start drinking?
Well, I would say, any water is better than no water at all. Okay, but also too to make the water a little bit more detoxifying. You could always squeeze into that, either lemon or lime juice.
Okay.
Yeah, and also too, green tea. That green tea is kind of like an equivalent to water.
And what I always think is interesting too is when we add a little bit, we always say we add a little bit of sea salt, like a pinch, or an eighth of a teaspoon per, basically a cup or even a little bit more than that, just to get the electrolytes in there, because if we're not drinking during there, we want to hydrate as well too, so that will get more of the waters into the tissue than just letting them flash through so you feel like you're just running to the bathroom all the time. So, okay. So now we're at the event. I feel like we need background music sometime when we do this, right? Where's our party music? I'm about to be careful what I ask for because I might get something. But we're at the event too, and so we're mingling and everything. And when we're there, what are some of the things that we have to be careful of on the site? Because we talked about how the food might be different from what we're normally eating, and there may or may not be alcohol present that we partake in. But essentially, what are the other little things that we need to think about when we're enjoying the holidays?
Well, I would say, if the event that you're at is a buffet, where they have, multiple, serving stations, rather than just waiting in line for the first station that you see, why don't you just, walk the room, find out, what the other options are, because that way you'll be able to make healthier choices, or not eat something first and then you realize later on, oh, I wish I would have ate that instead of this.
So it's okay to look.
It's okay to look, yes.
This is a different seafood type of thing. This is like check it out, look at it first, then make the decision.
Correct.
Not see the food and just eat everything in front of you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, too, at the event that I was at yesterday, there was one dining room where they were serving macaroni and cheese. Which is not the most healthiest example to share with you, but they were adding to it, multiple meats, either crab meat, lobster, or chicken. And nobody really knew about this room until the very end, but if people would have known about it earlier, they might have been able to, have a little taste.
Sure, next time
if it was appropriate.
Macaroni and cheese room, in holiday lights, and people would have gathered for it and have some blaring music out there as well too, and they would have been all set. So, right. So we're going to continue to talk about how to survive the holidays, how to eat well, how to drink well, what to do, because essentially, we're in a festive mood. We want to be able to enjoy ourselves. We want to be able to enjoy the life we live, but we want to make sure we're safe and we're healthy and we're not completely throwing all of our goals out the door. And you're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle live here. We're live in studio, and we can also take your questions too if you do. That number is 888-630-9625. Again, that's 888-630-9625. And this is Dr. Stephanie Pina with Mary Jane, and we're talking nutrition for the holidays. A very interesting topic that we all try to, I don't say avoid, but we push under the table because it's right in front of us. It's right there, and it's free. So when we get back after this next break, what we're going to do is get into what happens at that party and even after. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. And welcome back to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We are live in studio talking about making it through the holidays on the nutritional level and making sure that you are not only staying healthy and wealthy and also making it through so that you can see the next year. We want to see 2019, and we don't want to be there going, I'm going to be another one of those people at the gym on usually not January 1st, January 2nd, that says, oh, this is going to be my New Year's resolution. Well, why not start a little bit earlier and do it during the holiday season as well now? One of the things you can also do this holiday season if you're looking to give and make someone else's holidays a little bit brighter and cheerful is the Roselle Center for Healing has been working with Caring for Others, a nonprofit CFO, to help support a kids charity that gives Christmas back to the shelters. We work with 4 or 5 shelters and help donate money to the shelters to basically allow them to have a good experience, to get them Christmas presents and stuff too. So we've talked about this before. We throw the kids' Christmas gala. And so right now, if you're interested, you can always call the office at 703-698-7117 when we return on the weekends, or you can give the office a call and leave a message and they can give you a call back and do a tax deduction charity to help out with the 4 shelters that we work with. It is tax deductible, like I mentioned, and the great thing is it's going literally for the kids. So they can give you more information when you call there, so just talk to them and ask them about the kids charity, and that's related with caring for others, CFO. And the office will have that too. There's some information online about CFO, but just call the office and they'll give you more information about the Christmas special that's going on now as well. So let's talk a little bit more. We brought up some interesting points during the break too. So we've been talking about if there's alcoholic beverages in there, but even with the foods and stuff. So not everyone walks away feeling all that great or wants other options if they are drinking or they aren't drinking and stuff too. So let's continue on this role of different options and things that we should be aware of when we're at an outside setting, and what we should be doing.
And one of the things that I like to instruct people to do is to weigh themselves like first thing in the morning and jot down, what that number is. And then the next day after the party, do the same thing, weigh yourself. And then you'll be able to either be pleasantly surprised or very unhappy when you see the change in the numbers. But basically, if you ate well, didn't eat any inflammatory foods or foods that did not serve you well, the numbers should be, pretty similar. But if you have like a really, large increase, that just means that, what you did the night before isn't something that should be done on a regular basis. But, if the event is going to be, in the evening, do your normal, breakfast, snack, a healthy lunch, maybe eat more vegetables, a big salad, so that's your insurance. So that's going to really help you towards the evening event.
Okay. And when we're also looking at that as well, too, we were talking about what do we do if we want other options as far as drinking as well, too? Like, what are some interesting things that you've told patients that they're going to the party, maybe they don't feel like they want to drink for whatever reason. What are some of the things that they can think about but still feel like they're actually being social and stuff? Because I know that can be one of the things is everyone else is around us doing it. What else can we do when we think about this?
Well, most likely, you will want to be drinking something. So you could always do like a virgin cocktail. A cocktail that doesn't have the alcohol. Or you can have some type of an alcoholic drink diluted, maybe a wine spritzer, something of that nature, or, but also to stay away from the fruit juices because they're not going to serve you well, the next day.
We know that when you put like carbonation in some of those drinks too, it actually increases the alcohol content in there. So, and then some of the fruit juices, if we've got trouble handling blood sugars already in our now dietary pattern has gone out the window because, boy, that chicken buffet finger festival looks great.
and that's a good thing, too, regarding the alcohol, is that if you are going to drink, make sure you eat while you're drinking. Don't just drink because that is going to raise your blood sugar, fairly quickly.
So what if we change it around and we say you're the host of the party now? And so if you're trying to help other people experience, we'll say, a healthy holiday party, like what would you think of if you were hosting a party? Or in particular, like, for example, if you were hosting a party, Mary Jane, what would you try to make sure that, one, would make your guests feel comfortable, but then also doesn't, goes with what you believe in, too? Like,
well, I would definitely have, sparkling water. Different mineral waters, as well as, club soda, maybe tonic water, really like basic drinks without any calories.
Okay, we're going to be back after this break, and we're going to be talking more about how to survive the holidays and doing it healthy, and we can always take your questions here live in studio on Dr. Tom Roselle Live.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
And welcome back to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We are live in studio here on a December Saturday because the Redskins are playing tomorrow on Sunday. And we are getting ready for the holiday season. I hope you are too. I know we've got everything going at the office and everyone's coming in, getting things checked out before they travel, getting their nutrition back into play. And the good thing is this show couldn't have come up at a better time. So we were talking about how to survive the holidays with the nutrition in mind. And I'm here with our clinical nutritionist, Mary Jane. And she is going to continue to kind of lead us through how do we survive not only this holiday, but coming up what's after, which really shouldn't be any different than how we survive every single other day. So we're going to go back to the situation real quick of, like, if you're at the party, Mary Jane's hosting the party for all of us and all the great things that she's going to put together for us so that we have a happy holidays, but it's healthy and we're keeping the rest of our health in mind. What else would you, as a host, what else would you suggest for other people, or what else would you want to see basically at one of these parties? Because I know a lot of times it's the opposite of what we're talking about. And I think people just kind of figure they're just going to do what everybody wants. They don't really have a choice.
I would encourage the people at my party to, once again, they have to get back to the hydration. You know, it's one drink, one water, one drink, one water. I mean, you can't just be, going drink after drink after drink. That's going to, get you inebriated, very quickly. And also, too, it's going to, dehydrate you.
Okay. And so when we look at that, too, like, the person who also doesn't want to be worrying about getting sick the next morning either. I know your party is very healthy. It looks great and everything. I can imagine it. But we still have to worry about overdoing it as well, too. Or if we're there with someone else who might be overdoing it as well, too, what do we think about even when we're leaving or the next day to make sure that, we can go to the next party or we're just as healthy?
Well, if you did have too much to drink, make sure that you do have a designated driver. I mean, that would be, rule number one, especially if you are leaving my home, because I would be responsible, for that. But before you go to bed, definitely, once again, it's water. Drink a couple glasses of water, as well as taking some B vitamins, because that's going to help your liver, process the alcohol, out of your system. And also to grape seed extract is also another hint that could help you as well with getting the alcohol, out of your system, fairly quickly.
So if we are taking something like that, some of that's fairly available, we provide it to some of our patients for other reasons as well too. Sometimes it works on that detoxification pathway. Sometimes it can be very specific, especially the bees, because they're doing so much good for the body and they're water soluble. So we want to make sure if we're putting all that hydration in that the levels stay up. When we look at it too, like how important is it to make sure that, if we're a person who's susceptible for, drinking too much or even if we're susceptible and we think that we don't want to get any kind of sickness from food, do we need to be overly protective of what happens afterwards, or is that enough just to do B vitamins?
I think maybe another thing that I would think about is maybe a probiotic, because, the alcohol, does have the potential to, damage the good flora that you've been developing, in your gut. So that may be something else to take before you actually, go to bed that night.
And we know that there's that brain-gut connection,
right,
that basically everything that's kind of going in there and getting processed, we're producing those same things that are basically our second brain to keep the rest of us going. So, okay.
And then also, too, if there's been a big span of time between your last snack or the last time that you ate something, make sure that you do have, a bite of protein before you go to bed. And that's also going to help with the B vitamins.
So possibly, even though we're thinking that we may eat at this party or have a dinner somewhere and stuff like that, maybe having something, the little snack afterwards, or bringing it with us, essentially.
Or I'm talking about when you're actually home before you, go into bed.
Okay.
To get something from your own refrigerator or pantry.
Okay. What if you're traveling with children? Because, sometimes we'll go to these parties, especially if it's a daytime party. There might be children there as well. Hopefully they're not doing any of the alcohol drinking, but even if they're there, that does create an interesting situation because kids can be very picky eaters. They're going to tend to want to go towards that macaroni and cheese bar that you were just talking about, or whatever else they can get their hands on. What do we do as far as if we're bringing children or around children too? Are there certain changes that we have to do with the types of food that we have?
Well, and I guess, the good thing about children, though, children can handle marginal food, better than some adults can. So, they may be able to experiment and explore more, than an adult, which is, struggling with a chronic disease. But the child, the children, you still have to, make sure that the parent or whoever is there would make sure that they get a balanced meal, meat, some vegetables and a grain of starch. It's not just going to be sweets.
So it definitely sounds like really our food shouldn't change that much from an everyday type of food that we're typically eating, even though it's offered to us and it's in front of us.
Right, because I think I would be disappointed if I got invited to someplace and, there was no vegetables, no meat, just desserts. It's like, something's not really matching up correctly here.
So Mary Jane, your name just got crossed off a couple of lists, apparently. You're not going to be invited to the WMAL party.
I'm sorry. And I had a beautiful dress to wear.
There we go. We were going to do it all in studio, and she was going to throw the party and, do some healthy drink options and stuff too. So, okay. How about with traveling too? Because a lot of times we're on the road, we're doing things a little bit differently as well too. How often do you see it during this time that, if people are out traveling and they can't get the foods that they need at the times when they used to get it, does that become a problem? Because when we think about, we just got to get there. I'm going to grab a snack, or I'm running through the airport and this is the only thing that was available to me. How often does that become a problem? And is it okay, for that to happen the 1 or 2 days we're traveling and then we just go back to what we can? Or are there options that we should be looking for when we're on the road as well?
It's never okay to be unprepared. It's preparation. Pack, your raw, unsalted nuts or seeds. Have with you the packaged, Ever bars, Epic bars, RX bars, whatever, you enjoy in a regular day. Make sure that you bring that with you either on the airplane, the bus, the train, the car, whatever your mode of transportation will be, as well as water, because you don't know if you're going to be able to find, your favorite water, while you're traveling.
And we talked a little bit about the B vitamins before too. I used to always make sure that my patients remember, just because you're on vacation doesn't mean that some of those supplements and the medications that you're on too should just be thrown to the wayside. So in preparing to go somewhere, make sure you have those and understand when you might be stopping, especially if there's certain ones that you need to take with food, to plan ahead on that instead of waiting to the last minute and then trying to double up. I remember actually was on a plane and a gentleman forgot whether or not he took his medication and ended up double taking his medication on a plane. That's not such a nice situation to have to deal with. So, and then when he got off the plane, we had to find family for him to make sure that, someone knew that, just kind of be careful and watch him, what's going on as well too. So, okay. So we're traveling back from the holidays. There are other things too, which are interesting is I know here at the office, what's funny is we do have people who are nice enough to bring in different snacks, which creates a whole nother situation too, because now you have the gift of giving and with all good intents, and all of a sudden we notice that, wow, that seems to not always hit on target with the Dr. Roselle's foods that we shouldn't eat, the coffee, sugars, tea, black coffee, everything, the mantra, the alcohol. What do we do in those situations? Because this is not only a holiday situation, but this can be an everyday situation where you're going to the office, there's a birthday party, or someone comes in and they brought food from home or leftovers from the night before or stuff. Let me share it with the office. What do you do in those situations? It's basically you just say no. I mean, you don't even notice it. You have to have the willpower just to avoid it. So just because it's free again doesn't mean that you have to indulge.
Right.
So what if you're that person though? I think it's always interesting to think of, well, what would we give as a healthy gift if we had to give a holiday gift to somebody? What would be a good option, especially food based? Because the other option would be that old fruit cake. in a bundle that's been sitting around for, I'm sure they haven't sit around. There's the great fruitcake makers out there, don't get me wrong. But, if that wasn't the appropriate gift for, say, someone that we know had issues with that type of food, what would be some other issue, like some possible gifts to give as well, too, that might open somebody's eyes to some of these other foods?
I think, a couple lovely gifts that come to my mind would be, spiced nuts. Cinnamon, almonds, something hot and spicy. But I think, that would be, lovely to receive as well as to give. Also, too, I'm a big fan of nut balls. Something with like a nut butter, maybe some dried fruit, a fat bomb. But that would be, pretty healthy. And there's plenty of recipes that you can find, on the web. They would most likely be paleo-based. So if you wanted to add that into your search. The other things would be some hummus, with some, crudités, to go with it, celery, carrots, zucchini, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm usually like, let me bring the plant, but then you have to be careful with the plant.
Right. And then the other thing, too, is, we have a great recipe at our house called nutola. So it's basically granola without the nuts. And that would be like a wonderful thing to have as well.
Okay. Yeah. In a nice little tin. Or
how
would you serve that?
Well, I was thinking if you're gifting it, it would be really nice to package in, various different, mason jars. And you could put like a fabric topping, on the, on the screw jar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can make it like, very festive that way.
So here we are. We're talking nutrition. We've now gotten to gift giving. We're going to give you the Dr. Roselle gift giving guide to the holidays, nutritional stuff. I know, and we were talking about this before. We actually had, and this is interesting, we actually had a patient who wanted to give something to the office, wanted to give something to Sue Roselle, the other nutritionist at the time that she was seeing, and kind of was getting nervous about what to give because, here we are saying don't eat this or eat this, and she didn't really know what to do, and so she ended up giving like some lemons and some bowls. So at least she remembered that we're always telling people to put lemon in their water.
Right.
So she was clearly understanding what was going on, but she was getting anxious about that because, especially if you're hosting something, or I've gone to a Thanksgiving and didn't know what to bring, and I was given the dessert to give, and that's a tough order.
Well, and also too, one day last week, Dr. Browning, one of the chiropractors, he was fortunate to receive a box of citrus fruits from, one of his patients. So, that would be a healthy gift to receive, and also to spread the love, in the office.
So it doesn't have to be, it can be edible.
Right. And I guess the other thing, too, is what I have done before is, I experiment every once in a while with DIY, do-it-yourself hand lotion, hand cream. So, even though it's not food-based, but, it's something that you could, make and, and give to, an office, your coworkers.
Okay. Is there anything that you think that, especially in that office environment, or when, whether you're there and there's something coming in, or if you're also, at work and, the unexpected fruitcake does make it there, is there anything else that you would do in that situation or advise people to kind of, take under consideration?
Well, I would think, don't be that person that brings the stuff to work that you wouldn't eat at home. It's probably best to either just toss it, because the person that gave it to you doesn't know that you didn't eat it. But don't bring it into the work environment where you're going to be tempting other people that really shouldn't be having it. Okay. Yeah. Because you're creating a toxic environment for someone else.
And one of the things before we go into break, I wanted to make sure, too, that, we know that obviously there are a number, like I said, there are 7 different religions that are being kind of celebrating holidays during this time. And so we know that there are specific things that certain religions do and don't do too as well. So we want to make sure that we're honoring their traditions as well too. Are there things that you see that people have incorporated into their holiday routines, or that have you incorporated into your own holiday rooms that still kind of go along with this healthy food theme that we've kind of got? Like, anything in particular out there that you see that works really, really well, and people tend to go, oh, this is better than I thought?
Well, I guess one of the things that I really have enjoyed in the past is when the work office or the company, they would have a holiday potluck. And that would be a chance for a lot of the different cultures to bring in, a homemade dish that they make on an everyday basis. So that would give a variety as well as, healthy options. Mm-hmm. Although I had heard too that you're supposed to make it at home. You're not really supposed to, go to Costco or, go to Wegmans, to buy something packaged. You're really supposed to, make something at home, which is going to have, good, clean ingredients.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, even when we're eating out, we always forget about the fact that when people eat out, you don't have control about what goes into your food anymore. Like, you really are, like, what's in that sauce? Or what did they prepare that with? And so when we have people who have sensitivities as well, too, we have to be very careful with, how much they can really eat out and what they have to make sure that they may be able to tell people. And we're definitely seeing more restaurants now ask if someone wants a gluten-free menu, which you can ask for. Like, more waiters are coming back saying, oh, okay, are you sensitive or celiac, or, making sure that they know what's going on as well, too. So one of the great things is we are here talking about being healthy for the holidays on WMAL and with the Dr. Tom Roselle live show. I'm in studio with Mary Jane, and we're going to be here for when we get back from the break. If you have any quick minute calls, if you've got some stories, give us a call here, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. And we'd like to hear from you. Don't forget that the CFO, Caring for Others, Children's Gala and donation can be given away to the Roselle Center for Healing. We'll give you that information one more time when we just get back in just a couple minutes.
.5.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
And welcome back to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We are live in studio here on this Saturday afternoon. And we are preparing for the holidays. That is our topic on hand, how to maintain and live through a healthy holiday. And what do we do to prepare ahead of time, during the events, and after as well, too. And I'm here with the clinical nutritionist in the office, Mary Jane. And she is going to actually help us lead into what happens afterwards. So we've gotten through, we'll say, the entire holiday season, not just your party. We've moved on from your party. Your party was great. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Hopefully you'll have it again next year. But when we do it, when we walk away from the holiday season, what's interesting is we have to start thinking about any of the repair process, so the detoxification. And that can start right after, but also as we go into the new year. And we see so many people that say, I want to be a better me. They start hitting the gyms, they start exercising, they've got the, New Year's resolutions going. But when it comes down to it, where's some basic start points? Because it's hard to get going on there and say, how do I vision that goal? And so whether or not we're kind of putting things on paper or not, where do we start from a clinical nutrition standpoint?
Well, you don't really have to wait until the end of the holiday. You could be doing these things, throughout the holiday season. Don't wait until, February.
Can you repeat that again?
I mean, you don't have to wait until after the Super Bowl. You could be doing things, up until Christmas, through January, because it should be like an ongoing process, because, even though it is the holidays, I mean, these are the same temptations that are going to happen, throughout the whole year, because, we want everybody to have a vibrant social life. So it's not like it's just going to stop, dead on February 4th, or whatever. But, I think, go outside, to be outdoors is very, very, empowering, because, we spend most of our time, indoors, especially in the wintertime. We're in our car commuting, we're in our offices, just get outdoors, if you can during your lunch, maybe during a break, or definitely, on the weekends, go out to nature, go to a park, go to a hike, or, we're fortunate to be in the, DC area, go see a monument, do something that you routinely wouldn't do, but make that out there. Because also, too, you're going to get the sunlight, you're going to get the fresh air, but also too, you're going to get the movement and the exercise.
So we start with movement.
Yes.
And sunlight.
Yes.
Vitamin sun.
Vitamin D. Vitamin D. Yes. Yes. Let's go back to
Which
making.
we know vitamin D is going to be a little lower anytime now because we're not out there and we're all mostly inside anyway.
True,
right? We
true.
see a little bit of that depleting. What do we also do as far as when we talk about detoxification as well too? I mean, we know that they're key elements. We mentioned B vitamins before, where the liver needs those to kind of help and process. And we know that also, like, not only do we have to detox from food and alcohol that we mentioned, but really sometimes there's a mental emotional detoxification too. Like, you're going outside to kind of enjoy life again. Sometimes the holidays can be a very stressful time. So that mental and emotional detoxification, giving ourselves time back from running around and relaxing. And I know some people will actually move their holiday parties into January or into February so that it kind of gives you another chance to kind of celebrate life with other people without cramming it in between, you know, the holiday party for the office and everything else as well too. Any last minute, what would you say would be the number one thing if someone's going to that party that you need to make sure you carry with you?
Water.
It's all about the hydration.
Absolutely.
All right.
And add the lemon to the water to make it even more effective, an additional boost.
And you can bring the lemon with you and show others how to do it as well,
Yes.
too. Put a little bit ribbon on it or something and we'll be all set. Well, that is our holiday wrap-up, per se.
Thank you, Dr. Pina.
No problem, Mary Jane. Dr. Roselle's going to be back in the office and back on air next weekend. And essentially, we're going to be back through the year, too, and talking about what you can do to help yourself from non-surgical, non-pharmaceutical methods. We always encourage calls-ins, and you can always check out the old.
Are you dental phobic? Do you neglect your dental health because of fear and anxiety? A beautiful smile begins with exceptional dental care, and you can trust in the expertise of Soft Touch Dental Care and Dr. Michael Chung. Soft Touch Dental Care is unlike any dentist office you'll ever experience. Their warm and welcoming environment is designed to soothe fears and anxiety the moment you arrive, and they're especially pleased to pamper their honored guest patients. Dr. Michael Chung is a professional and leading expert in all areas of comprehensive dentistry, including cosmetic, sedation, neuromuscular, TMJ, and implant dentistry. Offering state-of-the-art technology, Dr. Chung can give you the smile of your dreams. Arrange for a complimentary consultation today with Dr. Michael Chung and experience the expertise that makes Dr. Michael Chung so unique. Call 703-319-6990. That's 703-319-6990. Or visit bestinsmile.com. That's bestinsmile.com.
This is Dr. Tom Roselle. After 38 years of practice and almost 1 million patient visits, the Roselle Center for Healing knows what works and knows how you can take control of your health and wellness. My team of doctors practice 21st century integrative medicine. Whether you suffer from chronic pain and fatigue, allergies, or headaches, we can help. Take charge of your health before it's too late. Make an appointment today. Call 703-698-7117 or visit online at rosellecare.com. This is Dr. Tom Roselle, author of Ageless Health. Health is a do-it-yourself program. My book, now also available in audio version, is a step-by-step program of how to take control of your health and wellness without drugs or needless surgery. You have the capacity to change your health and level of well-being. Take control of your health today and order Health is a do-it-yourself program.
For more information and to order, please visit agelesshealthbook.com. That's agelesshealthbook.com.
Breast cancer is a major health risk to all women. It can silently grow uninterrupted for years. The Thermography Centers of Fairfax reminds all women to conduct monthly and annual breast exams. Consider a thermography scan from the Thermography Centers as an adjunct to your routine breast exams. Digital infrared thermal imaging is safe and non-invasive. For more information and to schedule an appointment, call 703-520-7591 or visit thermographycenters.com.
Bye.